and welcome to Modern Times Magazine's wrap of Phoenix Comicon 2015. I'm John Guzzon. I'm joined by Ryan Scott, a staff writer, and also our resident con expert. Ryan, what do you think of the con this year?
It's fantastic. I loved it. I had a great time. It's my second year doing it. I am among my people. It's one of my favorite times of the year. I thought everything about it was fantastic. They stepped up the caliber of the guests this year due to the attendance being so good. So we had guys like Jason Momoa, who's playing Aquaman in the upcoming DC movies. It was honestly fantastic. All the cosplay was great. All the people on the floor were great. All the guests were great. Panels were great. I have no complaints.
Another successful con.
Another successful con, exactly right. Another one of the books.
So they changed things up a little bit this year.
They did.
Everybody stayed in Northwest buildings. It had all 3 floors. How did it go for you and the people that you ran into?
I thought it was good. I thought if anyone wasn't here last year, they didn't have that 3rd floor opened up for like the TV personalities, which kind of draw a lot of a crowd. So them being on the 3rd floor kind of allowed for a lot less congestion when people are just trying to shop or see the comic book artists. And they also opened up that skyway, which allowed people to be able to cross over to the west building without having to go outside in the heat, because it is like 103 degrees out here. If you're not in Phoenix this time of year, it's rough. And so it was nice, unless you had to be outside for something, you could sort of manage to stay inside and stay cool. So to me, I thought it was a good decision all around.
You mentioned cosplay earlier. Give me some of your best.
What surprises me is that, like I just said, it's 100-something degrees outside, and there's like 70,000 people here, if not more, and it seems like 80% of them are in costume, which, I thought about doing it, but I'm like, I'm too much of a wimp. I'm going to sweat. Forget about it. But there was people just in full garb. There was a guy in a Bender costume from Futurama, and it was an entire thing, and it just looks like a big can to sweat in.
Yeah, Bender was awesome.
But the guy's in it all day, and so that was terrific. And there was this guy in this huge custom robot costume, and there was a million Deadpools running around. And these are all full body things that, again, you're just going to sweat in. But it's impressive, and it's just cool that people do it in spite of the heat.
Bender has to be one of my favorites too at this con. A guy walking around in a suit of metal. I mean, it has to be commended. Phoenix 105. Yeah. I really enjoyed the Miss Argentina. I don't know that someone took that photo for us this weekend. From Beetlejuice, and she was she had the How to Die book, or what to expect in the afterlife book.
Right.
I really enjoyed that one. Any others that really caught your mind?
What was cool is the stage outside was sponsored by 8020 Records, and a lot of the bands that played dressed up, like all the Captain Squeegee guys dressed up as Star Trek guys, and the band from Fairy Bones all dressed up as Tim Burton characters, and that was really cool that even the bands, again, playing outside in this heat, not just being out there, but being active, committed up to dressing up in these really hot outfits too, and they all looked really good, so that was fun.
Yeah. Any other big favorites? I know that I really liked we had another photo of a girl that went all out with contacts in her eyes, and I guess she was even speaking in some weird voice and acting like that she was speaking in some other language. Really taking it to the different level.
Right.
You had a picture of someone. I think that you took. There was 2 people together, Star-Lord and.
There was this terrific. So a bunch of people, Guardians of the Galaxy got real huge. So now naturally everyone's dressing up like that. But at the end of the movie, if you watch, there's the baby dancing Groot. So somebody put together this incredibly elaborate, huge thing where they had the pot and everything, and they were standing next to a guy who was dressed up as a good Star-Lord. But it was just this incredible attention to detail. It looked like something that came out of like the Henson factory. It was incredible. It was really, really amazing. And I saw a lot of people dress up, as Groot or as those characters, but that was by far the best one.
Sure. Yeah, we had photographers out all weekend, and here are some of the best that we took. Wow, some really great cosplay this year.
Tons of fun.
Great panels too.
That's the reason to go, I think.
You mentioned Jason Momoa.
Yeah.
How about some other highlights that you ran into?
What I really like is that, so people focus on the Hollywood panels, the big ones, but there's a lot of really cool ones. Like I just went to one today. It was a bunch of animators who were giving career advice for animation. So people who want to go into the animation field, it's just people, professionals giving advice on how to do that. That was really awesome. And then another one, there's an organization out here called Pugs, and what they do is they do it's a Phoenix Ultimate Geek Champion, I believe. So what it is, it's like they start out with like 8 people, and then they whittle it down to one champion with nerd questions, like which was the worst trilogy, the Hobbit trilogy or the Star Wars prequels, and then they have to argue their point, and so that was a ton of fun. That was like a packed house on Friday nights. Those were some of the highlights for me.
Did you compete in that?
No, I didn't. I was just an audience member.
Maybe next year.
There's
always next year.
Yeah, I am on a list. Maybe next year.
Speaking of next year, what do you think the con could do to improve, even though a great success?
It's terrific right now, and it's growing, and that's where we have some room here, and that like San Diego and New York pretty much get all of the big exclusives. So I think next year, with the amount of people we have, I've heard rumors that we crossed 80,000, we can start getting some exclusives from some of the big companies. Get some movie trailers shown here, get some premiere of like the DC animated features or the Marvel animated features, and get some stuff that's shown here exclusively to have that draw a little bit. And I think that's the only thing that's really even missing from this at all.
How about having a great time at some panels? I know that there was a writer, specifically Bennett Coles, that I also moderate here and volunteer my time. But I ran into him about 4 or 5 other times, and it was just kind of one of those things that's going to stick out to me in this con, that no matter where I went, I ran into Bennett Coles. Did you have anything else like that, or was it just some great information or some really nice times to meet some of these folks?
I think that's really what it is. You get that chance to have that personal connection, like Christopher Lloyd was this morning. And he's getting up there in his years, but it's nice that he's giving his time to come to these places, just answer these questions, as arbitrary as they may be to fans who love him and love his work, and you get that personal connection that you don't always get, or you won't have the chance to get with these people. So that's like one of the best reasons to come, is that if you have ever loved these people or love what they've done, you get to actually interact with them, and it's great. It's terrific.
Right. With all intents and purposes, we're going to be back here next year.
Yeah.
And in the next few years. When we were at the all hands meeting for our volunteers, Matt Solberg, the con director, announced that they had made reservations through 2019. You had mentioned how successful it had been. It's really because they've been able to sell out so many hotels.
Yeah.
And that they're probably going to have reservations through 2022. Can you even think of a better venue than this place?
In terms of the amount of size out here, I can't. Like if they scaled it down, maybe there's some places, but we want it to get bigger and we want it to grow. And there is actually still room here if they opened up some of the other wings or anything, right, if it did need to get bigger. Sure. And the downtown area is really cooperative. There's all kinds of restaurants and everything down here to handle it. So I think really right here you do have the opportunity. Plus, if it does grow and we start getting more people wanting to do shows out here, Stand Up Live's right down the street. Right. And you could use that as like a secondary venue for people to hold shows during the con. Sure. So I think really right here you actually are kind of in the perfect spot. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it's great that they've just locked it down and we're ready to go.
So here we are, Sunday afternoon. There's still some people milling around on the convention floor, but no one's packed up yet.
Right.
But almost everybody's still looking towards next year. I mean, we're here.
Right.
See you in 2016.
See you in 2016, John.
See you in 2016, everybody.